What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of On the Break. We have a good one coming to you. So, Trevon, we have a new addition to the NBA season. The in-season tournament has kicked off this year, and a lot of teams are fighting for the NBA Cup. And I just wanted to get your initial thoughts on the in-season tournament. What are your thoughts on it? How do you feel about it? Is it something that you're enjoying watching this far in the season?
Yeah, I'm actually liking it. Anytime I see in season tournament on the schedule, I'm making it a point for me to go watch the game. Just the atmosphere and the courts are cool and the uniforms and stuff like that. I felt like they did a good job of letting it be known that this game has more incentive to it. I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see. I want to see how it is towards like the last two games where two teams have that opportunity to win their group and to see that competitiveness pick up. But I think it's very cool. I'm a lot more open to it than I was the playing tournament. But I do think that has even grown a lot on us as far as this being the third year of the playing turn. Is this the third year or the second year?
Third or
I mean,
fourth. I
a
think they
third or
kind of
fourth year.
started in the bubble, and then
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
something like that.
So I feel like that has grown on us, and I think this will definitely. I think this has a almost guaranteed chance to grow on us, just because it's something to watch in the NBA early on. I feel like just the race to the finish line in the regular season is pretty interesting to watch for us. So it's kind of a thing within itself before the playoffs. But I feel like this is something needed early on into the season. I think it gives us some kind of competitiveness. I think the teams that do ultimately make it to Vegas will be competing and putting on a good brand of basketball. It gives the certain feel. I think the fact that it's like a one game you win, if you lose, you're out. I feel like that adds to it instead of a long series. I feel like this gives a lot more parity to it and just giving it that kind of important big stage in Vegas. And I think all of this will just be very positive within the league. Now, I do think the incentives for the winner do kind of need to change. People are throwing out ideas of getting guaranteed playoff spots, which I don't think is very good because if you were to win the cup now, then it's kind of like, what's the point of playing for real
What's
the
the
rest
point
of
of
the
the rest of
season?
the season? Yeah.
So they'll have to figure something out. It might just have to be more money because to some players, 500,000 isn't much, but other players is probably everything to them. So I feel like that's the only thing that will need to be tweaked. But I'm liking it so far. It's just something else to watch, and it's give some importance to these games instead of just watching a regular game on like a Tuesday night. Now it has some type of meaning and substance behind it. So I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I would agree, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I was skeptical about it at the beginning of the season when everything was being announced and things like that. I wasn't sure how it was gonna be, and I think it all hinged on how receptive the players would be. Are they going to take this more serious? Are they actually going to put forth the effort and compete a little harder in these games and make it what Adam Silver and the rest of the NBA offices, envisioned it? And they've done that. We've heard Draymond Green talk very positively about the games. We've heard LeBron talk positively about the games, and various other players talk very positively about the games and how they are really wanting to go out and win those games. There was the clip about Steph saying it's in season tournament day. Is that kind of juice, it's that kind of electricity with the players. And even though it is new, I think that it can continue to get better throughout the next few years. This is the first year of them doing it, but it's kind of like you said with the in season turn or with the play-in. Like we've had instances where the play-in tournament has been great. So this in-season tournament, I think, is kind of following that path. We're getting some really good in-season games, and it's just going to continue to grow. So I like it so far, and I hope that it continues to get better. Again, I had my doubts or kind of wait and see kind of moments with the in-season tournament at the beginning of the year, but it's turned out to be pretty good, and it seems to be something that the players enjoy and the fans enjoy. So it seems to be
Yeah,
going pretty good so far.
I feel like not in hindsight. I mean, I did have a few questions about it, but in hindsight, I really was kind of like, what would the negative be? You have to play these games anyways. It's not like these are games set apart from your regular season schedule. Now, I think it is an
Mhm.
added game if you make it to the championship or something. So I guess if you want to say we don't want players put extra miles on their body, then you could say that. But these are regular season games you would have been playing anyways. So in a way, it gives you an opportunity to see what your team is made of and games that matter. If you're a younger team, you're probably if you feel like you're not going to make the playoffs, you get to get some kind of experience of some kind of competition. And then just us as fans, I wonder about how hard players are going to play. I think just naturally the competitiveness in players, is gonna be it's gonna come out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If a team is
Yeah.
playing hard, you're either gonna put up or shut up. So I think just the natural competitors is gonna bring out the best of you, make you compete, which is ultimately what we want to see. And I feel like there's really no downside to it. It's like you're gonna play these games anyways. If you make it, you have a chance to get some extra money in your pocket. I do think they need to up the price, but I think it's just a good opportunity for us to see some competitive basketball early. I feel like it brings some excitement. I think, especially if you're like a 13-year vet, like a lot of these star players are, it can kind of get very dragged out and boring just to go through 82 games. So I think this is actually refreshing for them also. And
Yeah.
just for the younger players, this is going to probably be implemented into their careers for the rest of their careers. So I think it'll be a little bit of a bragging rights, pride type thing for them. And I do think this will evolve over time and probably into a better, more final, perfect form or version of this. And I just think it's another treat for us, the fans, to see. So there's really no reason to go against it, in my opinion, because the critique about the NBA is just how they don't play hard. They're not. It's just a regular boring game. There's nothing, no importance to it. So it's like, here you go. Honestly, I think they might implement more than just one cup. I think eventually there might be two different in-season tournaments. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Interesting.
um,
Like one in
I,
the early part and one in the latter part or something like that.
yeah. So I think there might could be something like that. This is just me as a fan guessing. I don't know how old. I know this idea kind of came from like soccer leagues, I believe.
Yeah,
Even the
overseas, different teams. Yeah.
yeah, even the
Or
esports
leagues.
state. Yeah, even the esports stage, NBA 2K, they have like I think they have like three different in season type cups. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
then they have the
Yeah.
actual playoffs. So I think eventually it could come to that. So that gives teams like if they're like, well, okay, we didn't make it in this in season tournament, let's try it for the next one. Get ourselves in a rhythm before going into the actual playoffs. I think this can really spice up the regular season, and ultimately, that's just gonna make it better for us as the fans.
Yeah. And I think, some people's hesitancy towards it, I think that's the best word to use. Like hesitancy towards it was they didn't want it to become like the All-Star game where over time, in the past, All-Star games were very competitive, but now they haven't been. So I think that's kind of what they were thinking about. I know it's kind of different. All-Star game is like an exhibition game. These games actually count, but the players haven't always taken every single regular season game as seriously, or the team doctors or organizations, whoever you want to put that, blame on they haven't always had a sense of urgency like they are presenting now in the play-in tournament. So I think that was the fear, or that was the hesitancy towards this in-season tournament. Are the players actually going to buy in? Are the team? Let me not do that, because that's putting all of the blame or the onus on the players. I'll say the organizations. are the organizations going to take this in-season tournament seriously? And that's from, the front offices all the way down to the coaches and the players, all the way, and team
Yeah.
doctors and things. Are they going to take this as seriously as the NBA offices would like them to, and actually be competitive and actually compete to win the whole thing? And that's what these teams and these organizations have done. They've actually put their best foot forward to compete and try and win it. So if this continues, then I think the in-season tournament is going to be in a very good spot, especially moving forward into the future.